In a shocking turn of events on the front lines of the Russia-Ukraine war, a North Korean battalion has been completely decimated during fierce clashes near Makhnovka in the Kursk region. This marks a critical moment in the ongoing conflict, where the alliance between Russian and North Korean forces faces increasing pressure from relentless Ukrainian resistance as the battle rages on. The story of these troops sheds light on the harsh realities and unexpected alliances shaping this volatile war. Stay tuned as we uncover the details behind this pivotal event. The intense battle near Makhnovka marked a significant military engagement between Ukrainian forces and combined Russian-North Korean units. Subsequently, the combat operations revealed substantial losses for both Russian and North Korean forces in the Kursk region. The battle near Makhnovka evolved through a series of critical phases that underscored the intensity of the ongoing conflict. It began on January 3-4, 2025, when Ukrainian forces launched an initial engagement against a combined force of Russian paratroopers and North Korean infantry. Intense firefights marked the clashes as Ukrainian troops sought to disrupt the enemy's fortified positions. Following this early confrontation, on January 5th, Ukrainian forces initiated a calculated counteroffensive. These operations focused on securing tactical advances across multiple key areas, aiming to weaken the cohesion of the opposing forces. By employing a combination of mobility and precision strikes, the Ukrainian military gained crucial ground in its bid to regain control of the battlefield. On January 7th, the intensity of the engagement heightened with the involvement of Ukrainian Special Operations Forces. Their targeted assault led to the elimination of 13 North Korean soldiers, further eroding the effectiveness of the enemy's combat units. This marked a decisive moment in the engagement, highlighting the strategic role of specialized units in shaping the outcome of this fiercely contested battle. As the dust settled, the series of engagements near Makhnovka stood as a testament to the shifting dynamics of the war, reflecting both the determination of Ukrainian forces and the increasing challenges faced by their adversaries. The combined forces in the Kursk region consisted of elite Russian units alongside North Korean infantry. Ukrainian and Western assessments indicate approximately 11,000 North Korean troops deployed to support Moscow's forces. Moreover, these North Korean soldiers were embedded with Russian Marines and airborne troops, representing some of Russia's most capable fighting units. The battle led to significant documented losses across various units. The combined battalion suffered heavy casualties, with up to 400 personnel lost during the engagement. North Korean Special Operations units faced particularly severe outcomes, with 50 soldiers killed and 47 wounded. Additional losses among North Korean forces included 12 killed and 20 wounded, underscoring the high toll inflicted during the confrontation. Furthermore, coordination between Russian and North Korean forces proved problematic due to language barriers. The Ukrainian Special Operations Forces reported that North Korean units began establishing additional observation posts following these significant losses. Nevertheless, the most striking aspect of these engagements was the reported treatment of North Korean casualties. Ukrainian intelligence sources indicated that junior Russian commanders deliberately underreported casualty figures to their superiors. Additionally, reports emerged of North Korean soldiers taking extreme measures to avoid capture, with some instances of troops being executed by their forces. The combat effectiveness of North Korean units has been particularly challenged by modern warfare conditions. Special operations reports indicate that these forces were operating with outdated weapons and inadequate supplies. Consequently, their combat readiness and operational capabilities have been significantly impacted by these limitations. The Ukrainian offensive into Russia's Kursk region has emerged as a pivotal military operation with far-reaching strategic implications. Initially launched as a surprise assault, this operation has altered the fundamental dynamics of the conflict. The primary objectives of Ukraine's Kursk offensive centered on establishing a defensive buffer zone and disrupting Russian military deployments. Ukraine's assault into the region has achieved strategic, operational, and tactical surprise. The operation specifically aimed to disrupt Russian force allocation and deployment, create a defensible buffer zone inside Russian territory, challenge Russian military strategy and narrative, and establish leverage for future negotiations. The territorial gains in Kursk have been substantial, with Ukrainian forces capturing over 1,300 square kilometers of Russian territory. This unprecedented control of Russian land has created significant strategic advantages for Ukrainian forces. Rather than focusing solely on geographical gains, the offensive has fundamentally changed the geometry of the battlefield by extending Russian lines and forcing them to rethink their force allocation assumptions. The recent military offensive has delivered a range of significant advantages, demonstrating its effectiveness on both strategic and operational levels. Among the most impactful outcomes has been the forced redeployment of Russian forces, with approximately 30,000 troops diverted from eastern Ukraine to address the mounting pressure in the contested regions. This shift has not only alleviated some of the strain on Ukrainian forces in the east, but has also disrupted Russia's broader military plans by spreading their resources thinner across multiple fronts. In addition to the strategic benefits, the operation has expanded Ukraine's operational reach, granting its forces the capability to strike deeper into Russian-held territory. This newfound reach has opened opportunities to target critical infrastructure and exert greater influence over the battlefield, shifting the momentum toward Ukrainian operations. Perhaps one of the most immediate and tangible effects has been the disruption of Russian supply lines. The offensive has inflicted significant damage on fuel depots and logistical hubs, creating bottlenecks in the enemy's ability to sustain its operations. This disruption not only hinders the delivery of essential supplies to the front lines, but also undermines the overall efficiency of Russian military movements in the offensive has undeniably impacted Russian military capability, although Moscow continues its advance in eastern Ukraine. Specifically, the operation has exposed vulnerabilities in Russian border defenses, with frontier positions being rapidly overwhelmed and bypassed by Ukrainian battalions. The strategic significance extends beyond immediate military gains. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has indicated that the fate of Kursk could play a crucial role in future ceasefire negotiations. This territorial control provides Ukraine with potential bargaining leverage, especially as Russia struggles to mount an effective counter-offensive with its currently deployed forces in the region. The presence of North Korean soldiers in Ukraine has added another layer of complexity to the strategic situation. These forces, deployed to support Russian operations, have faced significant challenges in adapting to the combat environment. Their involvement has influenced both tactical operations and broader strategic considerations in the ongoing conflict. Currently, Moscow has integrated a substantial North Korean military contingent into its forces, marking an unprecedented level of foreign military cooperation. Pentagon officials have confirmed that between 11,000 to 12,000 North Korean troops are stationed in Russia. The deployment of North Korean forces within Russian territory reveals a deliberate and strategic allocation of troops designed to bolster Russia's efforts in the ongoing conflict. Currently, approximately 10,000 North Korean soldiers are stationed in Russia's Kursk Oblast. This contingent comprises various units, including 1,500 Special Forces operatives, 500 officers, and a high-ranking command element of 3 generals. These numbers underscore the significant role North Korea is playing in supporting Russia's military objectives. Before their deployment, North Korean troops underwent extensive preparation aimed at enhancing their combat readiness. Russian military instructors led specialized training programs tailored to the demands of modern warfare. These programs emphasized key areas such as infantry tactics and trench warfare, operations involving unmanned aerial vehicles, artillery coordination, and combat support strategies. Despite this rigorous preparation, military analysts have highlighted a critical limitation. While the Korean People's Army boasts 28 million active soldiers, it suffers from a lack of recent combat experience. This has led analysts to describe North Korean forces as thoroughly indoctrinated, but with low readiness, a characterization that reflects their limited exposure to contemporary conflict scenarios. To ensure the operational effectiveness of these forces, the Russian military has provided standard-issue uniforms and combat gear. In addition to equipping individual soldiers, North Korea has contributed a substantial volume of military supplies to sustain the broader war effort. This aid includes more than 13,000 shipping containers filled with artillery rounds, along with anti-tank rockets, ballistic missiles, self-propelled howitzers, and multiple rocket launchers. The military collaboration extends beyond troop deployment. North Korean technical officers have been dispatched to assist Russian forces in weapons operations and data collection, particularly regarding the performance of their missiles against Western air defense systems. The Pentagon has observed that these North Korean units are primarily assigned to Russian airborne and marine formations. Military analysts suggest that despite their lack of modern combat experience, these troops demonstrate high physical and psychological endurance levels. The tactical landscape of the Kursk region has revealed significant operational challenges for Russian and North Korean forces. Military analysts have observed distinct patterns in the deployment and effectiveness of combined forces in the region. The combat formation in Kursk demonstrated a complex integration of Russian and North Korean units. Military intelligence reports indicate that North Korean troops were primarily deployed as light infantry units with supporting mortar platoons. The formation structure during the engagement demonstrated a coordinated and multifaceted approach, integrating various unit types to maximize combat effectiveness. North Korean light infantry played a critical role on the front lines, engaging in small unit tactics designed to probe enemy defenses and sustain pressure during combat. Supporting these efforts were Russian paratroopers, who served as the primary assault force. These highly trained units operated in close coordination with North Korean forces, executing combined operations that emphasized mobility and rapid response. To enhance firepower and provide indirect support, mortar teams were deployed strategically. Their fire support missions were instrumental in suppressing enemy positions and disrupting counterattacks, enabling the frontline and assault units to maintain momentum. This combination of roles and deployment patterns underscored the collaborative nature of the operation, blending the strengths of both North Korean and Russian forces to achieve their tactical objectives. The Ukrainian military adopted a sophisticated, multifaceted strategy to counter the combined Russian-North Korean presence, focusing on exploiting the vulnerabilities of their adversaries. Recognizing the inexperience of North Korean troops in modern warfare, Ukraine tailored its operations to disrupt the enemy's cohesion and exploit gaps in its defenses. This approach was designed to undermine the operational effectiveness of the Allied forces while maximizing the impact of Ukraine's tactical capabilities. A central element of the Ukrainian strategy involved targeting key command and control nodes. By striking at the heart of enemy coordination, Ukrainian forces sought to sow confusion and hinder decision-making processes among both Russian and North Korean units. Complementing this effort, precision strikes were carried out against logistics hubs, cutting off critical supply lines and creating logistical bottlenecks that hampered the enemy's ability to sustain their operations. Long-range artillery also played a pivotal role in Ukraine's approach, enabling forces to engage targets deep within enemy territory. U.S. produced Army tactical missile systems and other advanced munitions were effectively deployed to execute these strikes, showcasing the increasing sophistication of Ukraine's arsenal. These long-range capabilities not only inflicted significant damage but also demonstrated Ukraine's ability to challenge the depth of Russian territorial control. The success of these tactical decisions was evident in Ukraine's ability to maintain control over approximately 60% of the territory reclaimed during its August offensive. This achievement underscored the resilience and adaptability of Ukrainian forces, even in the face of a strengthened Russian alliance bolstered by North Korean troops. By leveraging precision, technology, and strategic foresight, Ukraine continued to assert its dominance in key areas of the conflict, highlighting its determination to push back against aggression and sustain its territorial gains. Under the leadership of General Alexander Lapin, Russian defensive operations in Kursk displayed significant vulnerabilities. The defensive structure was undermined by insufficient border protection, leaving key areas exposed to enemy incursions. Additionally, a lack of effective coordination between units further weakened the overall operational cohesion, creating gaps in the defensive strategy. Currently, Russian forces face mounting pressure as Ukrainian troops have seized control of 74 settlements in the region. The situation has been exacerbated by communication challenges between Russian and North Korean units, primarily stemming from language barriers. Military intelligence reports highlight that North Korean forces, hence lacking previous combat experience, have sustained considerable casualties. The complete absence of combat experience among North Korean troops has contributed significantly to their mounting losses. Similarly, Russian paratroopers, otherwise considered elite forces, have struggled to maintain defensive positions when integrated with North Korean units. The Pentagon has confirmed that these combined forces have shown limited effectiveness in halting Ukrainian advances. Ultimately, the tactical analysis reveals that Russian defensive failures stem from both structural command issues and operational integration challenges with North Korean forces. The Ukrainian military's strategic approach has effectively exploited these vulnerabilities, leading to substantial territorial gains and enemy casualties. Harsh winter conditions and complex terrain features have dramatically shaped the battlefield dynamics in Russia's Kursk region, where North Korean soldiers face unprecedented combat challenges. The military landscape presents a unique set of obstacles for all forces involved in the conflict. The frigid December weather has significantly impacted military operations, causing a slowdown in territorial gains for both sides. The topography of the Kursk-Ukraine border region, primarily suitable for armored vehicles and tanks, has influenced tactical decisions. Currently, the terrain features include a dense network of trenches extending 4,200 kilometers, multiple defensive zones spanning 40 kilometers in depth, and extensive road infrastructure covering 2,000 kilometers. Supply line vulnerabilities have emerged as a critical factor in the ongoing conflict. The Russian military maintains large depots primarily within Russian territory, simultaneously managing an extensive logistics network stretching across a 1,000-kilometer front. A detailed analysis of supply line disruptions reveals significant losses to critical assets every month. Ukrainian operations have effectively targeted and destroyed an average of 90 resupply trucks, severely impairing the delivery of essential materials to frontline units. In addition to this, 3 fuel depots have been rendered inoperable each month, further straining the enemy's logistics and reducing their mobility on the battlefield. Similarly, 4 ammunition storage facilities have been neutralized monthly, creating shortages that hinder the sustained effectiveness of Russian and North Korean forces in the region. Ukrainian forces have effectively targeted Russian supply channels, destroying fuel depots in Belgorod, Kursk, and Rostov regions. Therefore, Russian forces have adopted alternative strategies, including the deployment of artillery-delivered mine systems to disrupt Ukrainian supply routes. The combat environment poses unique challenges for North Korean troops operating alongside Russian forces. Military intelligence reports indicate that these soldiers, though thoroughly indoctrinated, demonstrate low combat readiness. The challenging battlefield conditions have led to significant communication barriers between Russian and North Korean units, complicating their ability to effectively coordinate efforts. This has created difficulties in organizing combined operations, as the lack of seamless interaction between forces has hindered their overall operational efficiency. Additionally, the adversary's inability to adapt swiftly to modern warfare tactics has exposed them to increased vulnerability, further weakening their position on the front lines. Ultimately, the combat environment has proven particularly challenging for North Korean forces, who lack familiarity with modern battlefield conditions. The language barrier remains a significant obstacle to management and coordination. Nonetheless, Russian forces continue providing additional training to address these operational challenges, focusing on special circumstances unique to the Ukrainian conflict. The proliferation of unmanned aerial systems has created what military analysts describe as a transparent battlefield, marked by near-persistent surveillance. This technological aspect has fundamentally altered traditional combat dynamics, forcing both sides to adapt their tactical approaches and defensive measures. Intelligence reports from multiple sources have revealed comprehensive details about North Korean military operations in Ukraine's conflict zones. South Korea's National Intelligence Service has provided crucial information through various surveillance methods and intercepted communications. Satellite imagery has provided substantial evidence of North Korean troop movements, with South Korean intelligence services utilizing advanced surveillance technology to track these movements. In October, satellite images confirmed the transportation of North Korean soldiers to Vladivostok, with vessels making multiple trips, each carrying approximately 1,500 troops. Further intelligence uncovered that Kim Jong-sik, a senior North Korean official, was seen visiting missile launch sites near the Russia-Ukraine front, adding to the mounting evidence of North Korean involvement in the conflict. The findings from satellite surveillance have revealed several key developments. Multiple troop transport vessels have been observed operating regularly between North Korea and Russia, facilitating the transfer of personnel and equipment. Additionally, 5 distinct military training bases have been established across Russian territory, providing North Korean forces with the necessary facilities for preparation and coordination. Furthermore, regular movement patterns of supply convoys have been identified, consistently supporting North Korean units deployed in the region and ensuring their operational sustainability. In addition to satellite imagery, intercepted communications have played a crucial role in gathering intelligence on the coordination between North Korean and Russian forces. Ukrainian Defense Intelligence successfully intercepted a series of coded radio transmissions that exposed critical operational details. These communications, which contained specific code words, revealed essential tactical elements and unit identifiers used by the forces. For example, the code word Saja, meaning lion in Korean, was used to identify a particular unit, while Mulgi, translated as seal, referred to a tactical element. Dragon, used as a password, served as a unit authentication key, indicating the importance of secure communication protocols. These intercepted transmissions were predominantly captured in the Kursk region, where North Korean forces faced significant difficulties in coordinating their actions. Military analysts noted that the Russian forces had implemented a verbal identification system using the Dragon password to prevent friendly fire incidents, highlighting the ongoing challenges in ensuring clear communication between Allied forces. The combination of satellite surveillance and intercepted communications has provided a detailed picture of the operational environment in the region, shedding light on the complexities and vulnerabilities faced by North Korean and Russian troops. First-hand testimonies from captured Russian soldiers have provided valuable insights into North Korean military operations. Maxim Kuzmichov, a Russian Marine from the 810th Separate Guards Marine Brigade, offered detailed information about North Korean deployments after his capture. His testimony disclosed that North Korean forces arrived in mid-December, initially deploying around 220 soldiers. During the early stages of the conflict, they suffered heavy losses, with 80 soldiers wounded and 40 killed in the initial engagements. The troops exhibited notable confusion in combat, struggling to effectively respond to the challenges of the battlefield. After 4 days of intense fighting, they were forced to withdraw, unable to maintain their position amid the escalating conflict. Currently, military intelligence estimates indicate that North Korean casualties have reached approximately 3,800 troops killed or wounded. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Russian forces have taken extreme measures to conceal North Korean casualties, including burning the faces of deceased soldiers to prevent identification. Military intelligence reports certainly confirm the presence of 3 North Korean generals among the deployed forces. Furthermore, Ukrainian intelligence services have documented that North Korean units received training at 5 different Russian military facilities, with a total force of roughly 12,000 troops, including 500 officers. Ultimately, these intelligence reports highlight significant operational challenges faced by North Korean forces. The language barrier between Russian and North Korean troops has created substantial coordination difficulties. Military analysts note that after experiencing serious losses, North Korean units began establishing additional observation posts to detect drone threats. The international community has responded decisively to North Korea's military involvement in Ukraine's conflict zones. Global powers and international organizations have issued strong statements, condemning the unprecedented deployment of North Korean forces to Russian territory. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte has strongly highlighted the seriousness of North Korea's military presence in Russia, underscoring its implications for global security. The alliance has confirmed that North Korean troops have been deployed to the Kursk region, marking a significant escalation in North Korea's involvement in the conflict. NATO's assessment also stresses that this action violates UN Security Council resolutions and poses a direct threat to both Indo-Pacific and Euro-Atlantic security. As of now, NATO estimates that Russian forces have sustained over 600,000 casualties or injuries. The alliance views North Korea's involvement as an indication of Russian President Vladimir Putin's increasing desperation to maintain military operations, signaling a shift in the dynamics of the war. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency session to discuss the escalating crisis, where the diplomatic exchange laid bare significant divisions among member states. The United States condemned the action, reaffirming its commitment to providing military support to Ukraine. In contrast, Russia defended its position, asserting that its partnership with North Korea was legitimate and within the bounds of international law. France took a critical stance, advocating for diplomatic sanctions in response to the growing tensions. Meanwhile, Britain expressed strong support for Ukraine, pledging to increase military aid in the face of the ongoing conflict. The Russian ambassador to the UN generally maintained that military cooperation with North Korea remains transparent and aligned with strategic partnership objectives. Ultimately, Western allies on the Security Council stood firm in their support for Ukraine, refusing to acknowledge Russia's territorial claims. The Pentagon has provided a comprehensive analysis of North Korean military operations in Ukraine. Defense officials estimate between 11,000 to 12,000 North Korean troops are present in Russia. The U.S. Department of Defense has provided several crucial observations regarding the ongoing conflict. It has been confirmed that North Korean forces have been outfitted with Russian uniforms and equipment, a move that further solidifies the alliance between the two nations. Additionally, Russian troops are actively involved in training North Korean units, focusing on a range of military skills, including infantry tactics, drone operations, artillery procedures, and trench warfare techniques. South Korea and Ukraine have announced plans to deepen security cooperation in response to the emerging threat. The Biden administration has soon authorized additional security assistance packages for Ukraine. Furthermore, both the United States and the European Union have implemented new sanctions, targeting individuals and entities involved in North Korean military assistance to Russia. Military experts from the European Council on Foreign Relations emphasize that this deployment marks the first time in generations that East Asian troops have actively engaged in European conflict. The Council's analysis suggests that integration challenges, including communication barriers and differing military doctrines, continue to impact operational effectiveness. Recent developments in the Kursk region have reshaped military dynamics between Russia and North Korea, creating lasting implications for both nations' strategic positions. The unprecedented deployment of North Korean soldiers in Ukraine has triggered a cascade of military and diplomatic consequences. The loss of an entire North Korean battalion in Makhnovka has significantly weakened Russia's ability to generate forces. Military analysts have pointed out several critical factors that are currently undermining Russia's military strength. The deployment of 10,000 North Korean troops, with an additional 2,000 expected, has not been enough to fully compensate for the losses Russia has sustained. Russia's combat readiness is being limited by language barriers between Russian and North Korean forces, requiring modifications to training programs to ensure effective integration. Moreover, the supply of Russian uniforms to North Korean soldiers highlights the logistical support needed, with additional material resources expected to sustain the foreign troops. This situation has placed immense pressure on Russia to recruit more domestic forces, as the North Korean troops have not been sufficient to fill the void left by Russian casualties. Additionally, Moscow faces the complex task of integrating foreign fighters into its military structure, with the challenges of communication and differing tactical approaches complicating coordination between Russian and North Korean forces. The future of North Korean military presence in Ukraine appears uncertain and complex, with military intelligence indicating several significant developments. It is suggested that Pyongyang may receive increased military technical assistance from Russia, potentially bolstering its defense capabilities. This could include upgrades to North Korea's submarine fleet, enhancing its naval power. Additionally, there are indications that North Korea may gain access to advanced satellite and rocket technology as part of the arrangement, providing a strategic boost to its military infrastructure. Currently, North Korean forces are gaining valuable combat experience alongside Russian units. Notwithstanding the heavy losses, this deployment represents a significant learning opportunity for North Korean military doctrine. Military analysts estimate that North Korea will continue receiving approximately $2,000 per soldier monthly from Moscow. The evolving military situation has led to significant changes in the strategic dynamics of the region, impacting several key aspects of regional security. One of the notable effects is the reduced leverage China holds over North Korea, which has contributed to greater instability on the Korean peninsula. At the same time, there has been a notable increase in military cooperation between Russia and North Korea, signaling deeper strategic ties between the two nations. In terms of military technology, North Korea's capabilities have been significantly enhanced, particularly in missile technology. This improvement has expanded its capacity to develop advanced nuclear weapons delivery systems, further modernizing its military infrastructure. Additionally, North Korea's submarine capabilities have been upgraded, increasing its strategic reach and strengthening its position in regional security matters. Meanwhile, South Korea has expressed grave concerns about the military partnership between Moscow and Pyongyang. The mutual defense agreement between Russia and North Korea has likewise altered the strategic balance in Northeast Asia. The battlefield experience gained by North Korean forces could potentially transform their military doctrine. However, their ability to absorb and implement lessons from Ukraine depends largely on how Russian command utilizes their manpower. Military experts predict that this alignment between Moscow and Pyongyang might reduce North Korea's dependence on China. Furthermore, the defense agreement signed in June 2024 stipulates mutual assistance in case either nation faces armed invasion. The deployment has already influenced South Korean military planning. Seoul fears that North Korean forces might gain significant combat experience, potentially shifting the military balance on the Korean peninsula. Additionally, South Korean troops have not participated in major conflicts since the Vietnam War, creating a potential experience gap. Looking ahead, the Russia-North Korea partnership could affect stability across the Asia-Pacific region. Military analysts suggest that Iran might increase its cooperation with Russia, following North Korea's example. This development could lead to a broader realignment of military partnerships in the region. North Korean involvement in Ukraine's Kursk region marks a major shift in warfare, with heavy losses revealing the challenges of integrating foreign troops into Russian operations. Despite setbacks, the Russia-North Korea alliance is reshaping global power dynamics, particularly in Northeast Asia. As North Korea gains combat experience, how will this affect regional security and global power structures in the future? What do you think about this issue? Please share your views in the comment section. If this video brings useful information to you, please click like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video.